Hi everyone, and welcome to a TBR video, I guess. So there's a readathon. There's actually two readathons coming up in August, and I do want to try to film a tentative TBR for both of them. So this first one that I'm filming, and this is you're getting it while I'm at my work desk. All my books are in my bedroom upstairs. I can't go get them right now, but this is the only time I have to film this. So, and I want to get this up before the readathon kicks off. So, I had to do some digging. Now this readathon I found on Twitter. I will put the Twitter handle, and I'll try to find if the hosts have a YouTube channel or things like that. I'll list all of the pertinent information in the description box. So this one is called the Royal Readathon. Now my understanding is this is the last one for the year. And, but they said there will be one next year. And the theme for the Royal Readathon is Sizzling Summer. Now you don't necessarily need to read romance, but these are tropes. The prompts are based on tropes that are typically found in romance books. You don't need to read spicy, you don't need, so, you know, things like that. If it fits the trope, it counts, type of a thing. So, but I've picked all romance for this. I am in a romance mood. So let me go ahead and tell you what the prompts are and what book I have tentatively put in. And then I'll try and do a wrap-up video, fingers crossed. I'll try to do a wrap-up video of what I was able to read for the prompts. Do I expect to get all of these? There's 10 prompts. No, I do not expect to fulfill all of these. I will try to get these books on the other readathon that I'll do, which is the tropical readathon that takes place in August. I'll try to get these books in for most of those prompts. I'll also try to get these prompts for when I play and film my August Catwalk TBR video. I will try to get these books in there as well. So I've got some finagling and figuring out to do, but right now these are my first picks for what to read for the Royal Readathon. So I am going to give you, so I'll insert an image of the book, and then I'll tell you how I figured out that it fits that particular prompt. So let me bring this up. Okay, the first prompt is Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. This is to read a book that has the one bed trope. For this one I picked The Worst Best Man by Sosa. The only way that I believe this fits the prompt, and I'm saying it fits the prompt because I did a Google search for books that have the one bed trope, this book came up. There's a couple of other ones that have come up, but where I have this book and I've been really wanting to get to it, I put it on there. So I'm going off of that Google search. And I saw it on Goodreads, and there was at least one or two other websites where they list books with the one bed trope. Now it doesn't have to be in there continually. It could be maybe they go camping or somewhere at one point there is one bed. They don't have to share the bed. Someone can sleep on the couch or on the floor, but there's only one bed at one point in the book. So this one says, let's see, and I do know this is like an enemies to lover type thing as well, but I'm putting this in for the one bed trope. A wedding planner left at the altar. Yeah, the irony isn't lost on Carolina Santos either. But despite that embarrassing blip from her past, Lena's offered an opportunity that could change her life. There's just one hitch. She has to collaborate with the best, make that worst, man from her own failed nuptials. Marketing expert Max Hartley is determined to make his mark with a coveted hotel client looking to expand its brand. Then he learns he'll be working with his brother's whip-smart, stunning, absolutely off-limits ex-fiancée, and she loathes him. If they can nail their presentation without killing each other, they'll both come out ahead. Except Max has been public enemy number one ever since he encouraged his brother to jilt the bride, and Lena's ready to dish out a little payback of her own. Soon, Lena and Max discover animosity may not be the only emotion creating sparks between them. Still, the star-crossed couple can never be more than temporary playmates because Lena isn't interested in falling in love, and Max refuses to play runner-up to his brother ever again. So I found this again on a couple of websites where it says that it has the one bed trope. That's what I'm going with. Okay. Moving on, prompt number 2 is Beauty and the Beast. This is to read an unconventional love interest. Use your imagination. This could be your dad's best friend, maybe your brother's best friend, I'm guessing. You know, just whatever you want, pretty much. That's pretty unconventional. I am picking for this prompt Changing the Player by Jacob Chance. This is the first in a series called the Charleston Pirates. And I'll tell you, I'm going to read the synopsis. See if you can figure out what the unconventional love interest is. You'll probably get it right off, but then I'll just kind of reiterate it. It says, so this is told from two POVs. So underneath it says Flynn. You know that voice in the back of your head telling you not to do something? Well, I don't have one, at least not one that functions properly. Mine eggs me on, daring me to do my worst, which is how I found myself in my current situation, on the verge of being traded from my team. Coach gave me one last chance to prove myself, so I begged my agent, Nadia, to help me out. And then underneath Nadia it says, when I suggested Flynn to find a woman to fake date as a solution to his image problem, I never imagined he'd want me to fill that position. As his agent, I already had my hands full trying to keep him in line. But when he made an offer too good to refuse, I found myself accepting. Now I'm committed to spending 2 months in the bad boy of football's company. His very attentive company. He smells like sin and looks like every woman's fantasy come to life. How many stolen touches can I endure before I'm begging for more? I'm supposed to be changing the player, not falling for him. Okay. Sporting agent. So your sports agent. I'm calling that an unconventional. And I mean, you think about it. It's if you're a sports person and you fall in love with your agent, is that like an employee-employer type romance? Where there's probably not some good things, quid pro quo, could come up, abuse of power could come up, who knows? So I am calling that an unconventional love interest. All right, this next prompt is The Little Mermaid. So this is to read a book that has the miscommunication trope. For this one I have picked The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I have never read anything by Lauren Asher before. I'm putting this one in because, again, I did a Google search. This book came up. So a couple of places said that this has the miscommunication trope. So that's what I'm going with. I'm trusting what my search yielded. So hopefully there is, and I have found that with a lot of romance, there is at least one thing of miscommunication that starts that third act conflict where they kind of, you know, they're falling in love. They have this fight. Usually it's miscommunication and then they separate and go their ways and then get back together type of a thing. I'm guessing that's going to be the case. This one says, underneath Rowan, it says, I'm in the business of creating fairy tales, theme parks, production companies, 5-star hotels. Everything could be all mine if I renovated Dreamland. My initial idea of hiring Zara was good in theory, but then I kissed her. Things spiraled out of control. I texted her using an alias. By the time I realized where I went wrong, it was too late. People like me don't get happy endings, not when we're destined to ruin them. And underneath Zara, it says, after submitting a drunk proposal criticizing Dreamland's most expensive ride, I should have been fired. Instead, Rowan Kane offered me a dream job. The catch? I had to work for the most difficult boss I'd ever met. Rowan was rude and completely off limits, but my heart didn't care. At least, not until I discovered his secret. And I'm thinking that's where that miscommunication is going to come in. It's time to teach the billionaire that money couldn't fix everything, especially not us. And then it says that this can be read as a standalone. It's interconnected standalones. Okay. All right, prompt number 4 is Hercules, and this is to read a dark romance. This one does say, one of the tags on Goodreads for this is dark. It also has BDSM. So, and I do know these are spicy. It does have the tag of erotica. So we'll see what I think of the writing and stuff like that. But I will be reading Dirty Dom, written by Willow Winters for this. It says, this is a mafia standalone romance. Okay, here we go. I'm not always proud of the man I am, but when you grow up in a crime family, there aren't a lot of options. I do what I have to do, and more than often, I effing love it. The power, the women, the money. All of it comes easy to me, until Becca walked into my office. Everything about her was tempting. Her beautiful eyes that pierced into mine. Her body that was made for sin. She came to pay off a debt, but I wanted more. So I did what I've always done. I took what I wanted. She's a good girl who never should have walked through that door. I never should have touched her. But now that I have, I can't stop. I'll push her boundaries. She'll cave to temptation. We'll both forget about the danger, and that's a mistake I can't afford. Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on. The next prompt is Mulan, and this is with a forced proximity. For this one, I have chosen Accounting for Love, written by Erin, Wright. This is book number 1 in the Long Valley series. All right, the synopsis reads, is she the answer to his dreams? And I'll tell you when it comes up that I think that this will fulfill the prompt. Okay. So is she the answer to his dreams, or the person who will be forced to destroy them? He's a farmer, damn it, not a bookkeeper. When Stenson Miller inherits his father's farm in Idaho, he's too focused on crops and yields to pay attention to the financial side of things. The next thing he knows, he's got a stack of unpaid bills. The bank is threatening to foreclose, and the auditor who's come to examine his accounts is the sexiest thing he's ever laid eyes on. But she's a city girl, just like the last one who left him at the altar. He'll guard his heart, but he can't help wanting her. She's checking him out, in more ways than one. Jennifer Kendall doesn't mind a tough job, but the handsome Stetson is trouble of a different kind. When he isn't making her mad, he's filling her head with all sorts of forbidden fantasies. The sparks between them fly even faster when the road washes out and Jennifer has to spend the night on the farm. That's the forced proximity. But passion alone won't pay the bills. Can Jennifer find a way for Stetson to save his farm? And if she can't, will he ever forgive her? Okay, first novel in a series. Okay, so that's the synopsis. And with the road washing out, she can't go to a hotel or anything. She's stuck where she is, so she's forced to stay on the farm with him. Forced proximity. All right, prompt number 6 is Peter Pan. This is to read a book with the fake dating trope. This one I'm going with Happy Place by Emily Henry. And you'll be able to figure this one out pretty easily. It says, Harriet and Wynne have been the perfect couple since they met in college. They go together like salt and pepper, honey and tea, lobster and rolls. Except now, for reasons they're still not discussing, they don't. They broke up 6 months ago and still haven't told their best friends, which is how they find themselves sharing the largest bedroom at the main cottage that has been their friends' group getaway for the last decade. Their annual respite from the world, where for one vibrant blue week they leave behind their daily lives, have copious amounts of cheese, wine, and seafood, and soak up the salty coastal air with the people who understand them most. Only this year, Harriet and Wynne are lying through their teeth, while trying not to notice how desperately they still want each other. Because the cottage is for sale, and this is the last week they'll all have together in this place. They can't stand to break their friends' hearts, so they'll play their parts. Harriet will be the driven surgical resident who never starts a fight, and Wynne will be the laid-back charmer who never lets the cracks show. It's a flawless plan if you look at it from a great distance and through a pair of sunscreen-smeared sunglasses. After years of being in love, how hard can it be to fake it for 1 week in front of those who know you best? A couple who broke up months ago make a pact to pretend to still be together for their annual week-long vacation. There's the fake dating. They've broken up, but they're going to act like they're still together in front of their friends. So that's the fake dating that I'm going with. Okay, prompt number 7 is Sleeping Beauty. This is to read a book with an arranged marriage. I'm going to go with book number 2 in the Duchess Undone series. I have read the first one, really enjoyed it, and these have beautiful covers. Book number 2 is called The Runaway Duchess, and this one will fit the trope, even if it's just for the first maybe chapter, but it is in there, at least for a little bit. A runaway bride dumps, so again, arranged marriage, okay? Keep that in mind. A runaway bride dumps a duke and rewrites her own love story in this enchanting Victorian historical romance from the author of The Duke Undone. Pretty and pampered, Lavinia Yardley always dreamed of becoming a duchess, but family disgrace forces her into a marriage with the most vile duke in England, and she finds herself desperate for a way out. So there's the arranged marriage, okay? When a rustic stranger mistakes her for globe-trotting botanist Muriel Pendrake at a train station, Lavinia has a split second to decide whether to submit to her fate or steal someone else's. Neil Tremaine spent his youth traveling the world as Varnum Nursery's most daring plant hunter. Now he runs the nursery and is ready to settle down with a like-minded wife who'll fit right in with his large, happy, down-to-earth family. His correspondence with Muriel Pendrake proved they're the perfect match. Odd that the woman in the flesh seems more like a society belle than a scientist. As they tramp the Cornish moors together, Lavinia and Nil discover a wild and rare desire. But this blooming love is rooted in lies. And when the real Muriel Pendrake shows up, they can't hide from who they are. The truth may wither their hopes of happiness, or it may bloom into the sweetest love of all. But there is an arranged marriage at the start. It probably won't last long, but it is in there. All right, so prompt number 8, we're on the last 3 prompts. Prompt number 8 is The Princess and the Frog. This is to read a book with enemies to lovers. For this one, I am going with The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. It says, public radio co-hosts navigate mixed signals. Let's see. Shay Goldstein has been producer at her Seattle public radio station for nearly a decade, and she can't imagine working anywhere else. But lately, it's been a constant clash between her and her newest colleague, Dominic Yoon, who's fresh off a journalism master's program and convinced he knows everything about public radio. When the struggling station needs a new concept, Shay possesses a show that her boss green lights with excitement. On the X Talk, 2 X's will deliver relationship advice live on air. Their boss decides Shay and Dominic are the perfect co-hosts, given how much they already despise each other. So there's the enemies. Neither loves the idea of lying to listeners, but it's this or unemployment. Their audience gets invested fast, and it's not long before the X Talk becomes a must-listen in Seattle and climbs podcast charts. As the show gets bigger, so does their deception, especially when Shay and Dominic start to fall for each other. Enemies to lovers. In an industry that values truth, getting caught could mean the end of more than just their careers. So that'll fit that one. Okay, next prompt is Frozen. This is a book with friends to lovers. Okay, and I'm reading book number 1 in A Brush with Love by Macy Eddings, and the title of the first book is also A Brush with Love, and I think my edition is an ARC. So, synopsis reads, Harper is anxiously awaiting placement into a top oral surgery residency program when she crashes literally into Dan. Harper would rather endure a Novocaine-free root canal than face any distractions, even one this adorable. A first-year dental student with a family legacy to contend with, Dan doesn't have the same passion for pulling teeth that Harper does. Though he finds himself falling for her, he is willing to play by Harper's rules. So, with the greatest of intentions and the poorest of follow-throughs, the two set out to be just friends. That's the friends to lovers. But as they get to know each other better, Harper fears that trading feelings for feelings may make her lose control and can't risk her carefully ordered life coming undone, no matter how drool-worthy Dan is. Blood, gore, and extra long roots, no problem. The idea of falling in love? Torture. So they're going to start out trying to be friends, and obviously with it being a romance, they will turn into lovers. So friends to lovers. This last prompt is Cinderella. This is to read a book that has a happily ever after. Now, when I read the synopsis for this book I'm going to tell you about, It is a happily ever after, but I'm not sure if it's going to be the happily ever after that we typically think of. So let me go ahead and read the synopsis, and I'll try to expand on that a little bit. So the book I'm going to read is called Hooked. This is book number 1 in the Never After series, written by Emily McIntyre. It says, he wants revenge, but he wants her more. James has always had one agenda: destroy his enemy. Peter Michaels. When Peter's 20-year-old daughter Wendy shows up in James's bar, he sees his way in, seduce the girl, and use her for his revenge. It's the perfect plan until things in James's organization begin to crumble. Suddenly, he has to find the traitor in his midst, and his plan for revenge gets murkier as James starts to see Wendy as more than just a pawn in his game. Wendy has been cloistered away most of her life by her wealthy, cold father, but a spontaneous night out with friends turns into an intense and addictive love affair with the dark and brooding James. As much as she knows James is dangerous, Wendy can't seem to shake her desire for him. But as the relationship grows more heated and she learns more about the world he moves in, she finds herself unsure if she's falling for the man known as James or the monster known as Hook. Hooked is it says it's dark, a collection of fractured fairy tales where the villain gets the happily ever after. So, not sure if Wendy's going to get any part of that happily ever after, or if it's just the villain in this particular case, but there is a happily ever after. So those are the selections for the Royal Readathon Sizzling Summer. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Are you participating in the Royal Readathon? Let me know. Talk to me in the comment sections below. And if you've read any of these books, which ones did you enjoy or not enjoy? And same thing with the authors. What are your favorite books from these authors? So talk to me in the comment section below. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I'll talk to you later.